Good evening, happy stampers. How is everybody this evening? Welcome to Tools and Techniques Thursday. So tonight we are going to be doing a whitewash. And I believe I've done coloring with our Whitecraft ink previously, but I've had a lot of questions about it lately. And in fact, I did this for my 3 for 15 class this month. So I'd like to welcome everybody, my viewers on Facebook and on YouTube. Hello, good evening. Thanks for popping in this evening. And, welcome to all of you. Make sure you say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. My name is Judy Anderson, and I am an independent demonstrator from the United States. And every week I come on and we talk about tools that we have in our stash and or tools that are coming out that you don't have. And I welcome you guys letting me know what you would like me to bring you. If you have any questions about any of our tools, I also do techniques, and sometimes I combine the two, which I am doing tonight. So tonight we are concentrating on our aqua painters. I have shown you watercoloring before, and we're going to be doing a whitewash tonight, but we can do whitewash painting with our aqua painters, and we can also do it with our chalk marker, and we can do it with our blending pen. Now, those are not our blenders, or it's not our alcohol markers, but rather our pen that turns every ink pad into a marker. And these come in sets of 3, and they are like the basic. I think that everybody needs this in their toolbox. I think it's the first tool that I show people how to watercolor with. And the reason being is this particular product, like I said, turns every single ink pad into a marker. So if you don't have the marker, but you have this and you have the ink pad, you can color with this. Then, like I was saying, we have our Stampin' chalk marker. And this is a white marker. We're going to learn tonight how to use that to paint. And then we have our I call them the aqua painters, but there are water painters, and actually I have our newer ones back here. They are white. They come in, sorry, I should have gotten these out. No, they come in sets of 3. And I have 2 back here right now. They come in a fine brush, a medium brush, and then this thick brush. I don't know why, but we used to carry these aqua painters, and this is my favorite one. And I have a real hard time not using this one because it is my favorite. But our new water painters that are found on page 129 of our annual catalog is what you can get now. And I do love using those also for watercoloring. But when it comes to this technique, for some reason, I always go back to this pen. I guess I should go to our new pen. But my medium brush, I don't know where it is right now. Otherwise, I would be using it tonight. You're also going to find our white Inkcraft ink pad there. Now, our Whitecraft ink pad does come uninked. So you do need to ink it up before you start using it. And when you order it, you get the pad and the re-inker with it. Right now, I have 5 of these older pads, and that's what I use. So I got refills too, so I just use that. I've used it a lot in my classes, and pretty soon I'm going to have to get the new one because I need to refill it and show you guys what that one is like. So we are going to be using one of our celebration stamps, and this is the Calming Camellia. And I absolutely love this stamp set for this technique. Now, with that being said, you can use any stamp set for this technique. But if you have a stamp set that has lots of lines in it, like this one, another one that you could use would be, I think the Garden Wishes, you could do this technique with also. right there. You wouldn't be able to use as many colors with it, but still, we're going to use that. Then we are going to be stamping onto different colors of cardstock tonight. So I'm actually showing you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus basic white tonight. So we may not get to making the cards because I do want to show you what it's like on the different cardstocks, number 1, and number 2, using different colors and how gorgeous it can be. Also, we're going to be embossing tonight. So I just wanted to show you the differences and the different effects you can get. I do have cardstock ready for cards, okay? But like I said, I don't have it cut apart because I didn't know how much time this would take tonight. So let's get going, okay? So I'm going to flip you all around. Don't get a little seasick here. Here we go. Just like that. So, like I said, we're going to be using the Calming Camellia stamp set. And this is a celebration set. And I haven't even taken it all out yet. That's because I've been having so much fun with this image here. I should take the other image out though too. So I'm going to go ahead and mount that onto my block. So we're going to start out with, let's start with the rich raspberry. So we're going to stamp onto the rich raspberry. Now this technique does work best on darker colors, but I do want to show you tonight what it does look like on a lighter color also. Let me get a mat for underneath here because the stamp is bigger than the piece of cardstock that I'm using. So we are going to go ahead and ink this up. Sometimes these bigger stamps I like to ink up upside down, and this stamp set is a distinctive stamp. So it does the shading all by itself just by how it's etched out in the rubber. So we're going to put this down here. Now this is a big stamp and I have been stamping quite a bit today. Oh, I don't know where let me see if I can, here it is. So I am going to be using my dry erase thing. I usually use this with my Stamparatus, but you can use it on your regular stamps also. And look how dark and beautiful that is all in itself. Okay, now we're stamping this color on color. And let me just grab this here. I do want to clean my stamp off. So I'm just going to wipe that down because we're going to be using it over and over tonight. Okay, so as you can see, this is some gorgeous stamping just by itself. Isn't it gorgeous on there? But we're going to make those flowers pop. So how we're going to do that is we are going to take our white craft pad, going to push the ink up towards the top. So I have ink there. Now I do want quite a bit of water in here. So I've got 2 drops that I just dropped in there, and I'm going to wash that into this ink. You do not want the ink too heavy, okay, because you won't see the detail. So a lot of times I will just take the re-inker and put a drop down there. In fact, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So what I do is I shake up the re-inker to mix up that ink because it is a thicker ink. Okay, just like that. And you're going to see that it's kind of spreading out there. So I do want it, I want it thick, but I do want it pretty, on the thin side. So we do want to thin that down. So I'm going to turn this upside down just because I can see it better. The lights are kind of glaring. And when I do this, I start at the base and I color in the direction of my petals. Okay, so I'll do that petal and then I'll go in and I'll do this petal. And then I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. Those petals I want lighter or whiter. So I'm going to take this and put it in. And it's just going to lay there. Now you're going to see that it's kind of turning a little bit purpley, or like rich raspberry. And I'm going to go in here. I'm going to start with this right here because I want that lighter, and I want this one lighter right here. So I am just coloring these flowers. I want that to dry a little bit before I go to the petals next to it. So I am just going to follow the petals and then color it in the direction of the petal. And you're going to color in that entire petal. Okay, and I'm just going to move around all of these flowers and do that same thing. Okay, and it is simply amazing how this comes out. So we're just going to color. So we're actually painting that on. And you're going to notice I'm not refilling my brush tip at all. And this flower is kind of how you interpret it. I am going to go ahead and do a petal there. Okay, now we're going to go down here. I'm going to do these petals. I just don't want it to blend into the petal next to it. Okay, a little jagged line there. And we're going to go in and go right around there. And it does take a little bit for this to dry. Trying to look at my flower. I'm going to turn it around so I can interpret it a little bit better. Okay, then we have this petal right here. And then this petal kind of goes like that. Now, the rich raspberry is a little bit darker. You're going to see it's going to be easier to color on some of the next ones that I do. Because I'm doing the same color as the cardstock. So I'm doing the same color ink and the same cardstock on this. And it takes just a little bit. Now you're going to notice it's starting to get purpley. So I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up some more ink. And here we go here. And look how white that is compared to some of these. And I can always go back when this dries and fill these in a little bit. Okay, this one's got this stem, this petal here. So we're just going to go around and color all those in. I know the other day a couple of the girls actually colored a couple of the leaves. And I said, that's okay. This is your flower. So color it how you want. I want to add just a little bit right there to have that. Actually, this goes this way. I should be coloring it a little bit this way. There we go. Okay, we're going to set that to the side. This has got just a little bit in here. Okay, we're going to set this to the side and let that dry. I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm just cleaning it off on a paper towel here, making sure that it's clean. We're going to go to our next color. Our next color is So Saffron, but I am going to be using the crushed curry ink, and you're going to see how much easier this is actually to see this flower compared to the last one. I'm going to tell you that rich raspberry is really dark. Okay, and I do have a tendency of not doing them on the really, really dark cardstocks like that. Okay, and you're going to notice I'm using all different sizes of cardstock here. These were all scraps that I had in my scrap bin, and it's okay if the whole image isn't on there. Okay, so each one is going to be a different size. Okay, we're going to lift this up and look how you can see how when you use a darker ink on a lighter color. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick up some ink and we're going to color. And you're going to see how much faster it is for me to color these because I can see them a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to just bring those down. This one here. See how much faster this is going for me? Because I can see the images a lot better. So, but I did want to show you all how to go ahead and do it on the darker cardstock also, because I know that I would have somebody contacting me and asking me. Okay, we're going to do all these petals. And you'll notice on my other one, I colored here, and that was actually a leaf. So, but that's okay because it's your own interpretation. Now I'm going to go in and do these front petals, and I'm coloring in the direction of the petal so it doesn't look wonky, kind of like, so it doesn't look cross grain when you color. And you can go back and forth like I am now, but look at that, and look how the detail of those, the stamp is coming through. Now we are coloring, taking water and putting it onto a water-based ink, so you don't want to color too much. Let's go up here, do that a little bit, do just a little bit more white in there, and possibly spread that. Now I'm going to warn you, you don't want to put too much water on this at first. Now look at that. Isn't it? See how those flowers pop? They're just popping. This is bright right now because it hasn't soaked in. We're going to set this apart, on the side, and let it dry up a little bit. Now we're going to take the next one. The next one is our soft suede. And I am doing the soft suede onto crumb cake. Okay, I could do crumb cake onto crumb cake, but I like doing a little bit darker color on there. And this one we're going to put, so it's kind of off Kitty Wampus on here. Let's go ahead and press that. This is a good stamp because it's a bigger stamp to use with your Stamparatus. Okay, look at that. Now we can see our stamped image. I'm going to go ahead and wash my stamp off real quick. Let that dry up just a little bit. And the reason why I let that dry just a tad bit is to give that ink a chance to dry before we start layering water on top of it. Now this is, I'm gonna admit, this is probably my favorite color combination. I love white on crumb cake. Once again, you know what? Let me take this one. Instead of using the aqua painter, I am going to use the blender brush. Okay, the blending brush. I'm going to dip that into the ink, just like that. And same thing. I'm just going to go in and color. And I'm doing those two spots first because those are the ends of petals. Need to pick up. This does have a solution in it, but I still want to pick up some water so that it spreads a little bit more. And now you may notice that when I put it on with this, it is going on a little bit thicker. You do not want to rub too much, okay? With this blending brush, you do want to just go once, fill that in, and then move on, okay? Because this is a little bit stiffer because it is like a marker tip, and it will pull that brown ink or your whatever color ink you're using out more. You'll get more blending because you're pressing harder. Okay, you'll notice I'm going in the direction again of the petals when I do this. And I'm just taking each petal one at a time and coloring that petal. And that's you'll see that as it dries, you will see the different petals by doing it this way. And I also start the white usually at the top and move down. We've already done that. So we're going to go over here and do these. And like I said, when you're first beginning, do every other petal first and then go in and fill the other one. And you're also noticing that I'm having to put more ink onto my blending brush more often than I did my aqua painter. And that is because I can get more ink on my aqua painter than I do onto my blending brush. Okay, so that one's really drying already. So we're going to set this aside. Now you could do the leaves too, or let's say you want to do part of a leaf. I would do it just a little bit. I wouldn't do it real dark. I would just do a couple areas where it's the top of the leaf possibly. This one looks like a flower, and I didn't do any of the other ones. There we go. That's a flower. So you could touch up just a couple of leaves just to highlight them like that. Okay, so not a lot of difference. The only thing I can tell you is now we need to wipe this until that ink is out of there so it comes out clear. And there is quite a bit of ink in there. Okay, so that is using the blending pen. And now we're going to go to our gorgeous grape in our Highland Heather paper. Okay, once again, I'm using a shade darker. I just wanted to show y'all the difference. The Blackberry Bliss was a little bit harder to see, and part of that is my lights, the way my lights come down. I'm going to go ahead and let's put this one coming the other direction. Let's push this down. Hello, Marilyn. Good evening. How are you? And Pat, how are you this evening? And Georgia, glad you guys could join me. Okay, so with this one, I want to use the chalk marker. Now the chalk marker is very similar to the white craft paint, but it's thinner. So let's see what effect we get with this. So this is, I would say if you are scared of using the paintbrushes or the aqua painter or the blending pens and doing with that, you could use this. So if you are just starting out with this technique, you may find that you like using this pen. Now you notice I don't have to fill it up. It is just flowing all on its own. So if you have our chalk marker and you don't have our white ink, this is one way you can achieve this look with your chalk marker. Okay, but I am still following those petals and coloring in the direction because I get those little dots of ink when I lift up, and that way it's not a cross. I just kind of like when you're staining wood, you always go with the grain. You just achieve a better look. Let's get these in here. Okay, so using this, it's just like coloring with a marker, basically. Let's get in. But at the same time, you do have to watch that you're not rubbing too much so that you pick up the color in here, because if you look, I have a little bit of purple here. Okay, now I am going to take a scrap of basic white, and I am going to stamp 2 images on here, and I'm just going to do them both with the gorgeous grape. Okay, we're not going to get whole images. I just want to show you the effects that you get. Oops. Oh, I rocked and rolled on that one. Not good. Okay, there we go. I'm not worried about that. This is just a sample. And you may want to make samples like this and, mark on the back what you used, what color cardstock it is, what color ink, and did you use the chalk marker? Did you use your stamping blend? Did you use, I have got ink all over right now. Did you use the aqua painter? Okay, so we have this stamped on white, and you're going to say, well, why would you want to color white on white? Okay, I'm going to show you. We're going to use the aqua painter. I want a little bit more water because as this is sitting here, this is drying up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now watch what happens here. Oops. I need to get a paper towel. I had too much water. Okay, so we're going to pick up our ink. Oh, Maryland, you know, it's snowing and windy here too. I live in the Chicagoland area. We're supposed to get a lot of snow. We're supposed to get snow overnight last night. I was expecting to actually have to go out with my husband and shovel this morning, and we got none. It started coming at 1 o'clock. Now see here how this is a little purple. Do you see that purple in there? Can you see that as I'm coloring this? It's actually pulling, even though I'm using the white ink, but because we're on the white paper, you notice it more. Okay, so I'm coloring all this in. And it's turning light purple. Okay, so when you do the whitewash technique with the aqua painter on basic white, look at that. See how it looks purple there? And here is what it looks like on, it looks chalkier here than it does there. It pulls, it shows you where it can pull out the purple. We are going to use the chalk marker next. So let me grab that. And I'm going to color with the chalk marker here. Okay. And do you see how it's kind of covering up the gorgeous grape lines? It's making them softer. It is making them milkier looking. So did the white chalk, white ink. I go into here a little bit. And the more I color on it, the more purple I'm going to get. Okay, because my marker is picking that up. And just like on the other one, I'm picking up some of that ink. So that you can wipe this off. But when you stamp on your basic white, you're basically wanting to pull out some of that color there. Okay, can you see the difference now? See the lines here? Now, can you tell there? Well, I don't want to get it too blurry, but see how they kind of spread out there? And look how they didn't, the actual lines are a little bit finer, but you do have that purple, that depth of purple there. Whereas on these, you have that depth of purple, but it's the white is really, see the difference? Can you see that? So you can do this on basic white also. Okay, now I wanted to show you because I know you guys would ask. So I need to make sure my stamp is good and clean. And we're going to do this on basic black. Okay, but when we do it on the basic black, I am going to emboss. But our embossing is going to be mainly white here. So maybe I'll emboss in clear. The purpose is I'm going to emboss in clear. So let me get my Versamark pad instead. I was going to emboss in white, but this stamp has got so much going on that it would be all white, and we don't want that. So I'm taking my Versamark pad, and we are just going to stamp that on here. And let me close my white ink pad up right now. Let's get that on there real good. I should have used my embossing buddy and I didn't, but that's okay. We just go with the flow. Plug in my heat tool. Grab my tray and my clear embossing. So we want the clear instead. Get that on there good. And let's hope this doesn't stick all over my paper. If it does, we will, we're just going to stamp the other side. There's two sides to every piece of paper, right? Okay. Oh yes, this definitely need my embossing buddy. So I'm going to just wipe that off. Oh, and dump over my embossing powder. Oh dear. Okay, let me grab my embossing buddy. I may get a different image to show this because this is quite a detailed image, but I love it when I do it on the colored papers, the color cardstock. I just think it's gorgeous. But your distinctive stamps have a tendency of not being real good to use for embossing. So let's see how this turns out. Oh, that looks like it's a little bit better. You're not going to get all that texture in the background of the stamp as we did. And yeah, see, this isn't really good. See how it's really blotchy? That's because it's etched at different depths. So let's get a different stamp. Okay. I think I'm going to get Nature's Harvest. I think these will be good for doing this technique. So we just switch it out, right? We can do that. It's more fun to see different stamps, right? Let me get a piece of black cardstock out of my bin. Okay, that's what I grabbed out of my scrap bin. So you guys, you know, some of you ask me, you know, you're always grabbing papers out of your scrap bin. What does your scrap bin look like? Well, my scrap bin is hanging folders, and I put them in by color and in alphabetical order. I am one of those that are very petite. Everything is alphabetical order in my stamp studio. And then I always go into my scrap bin before I get my full pieces of cardstock. That way I can keep them down. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of fine too. This might not have been the best to use, but let's see how this one comes out. Be a little bit noisy for just a minute here. I'm going to pick this up so I don't ruin my silicone mat any more than I already have. And this is going to disappear in here. So this is going to be kind of like the rich raspberry, where you really don't see, ouch, you really can't see as much. That's why I was going to emboss in white. But here, you can see the sparkle. It's going to be hard to see it. Oh, I guess you can see it on camera. Okay. And now let's flip this over. And we are going to color in all these open spaces. And you're going to find that it resists on our embossed part, but it will soak in to the other part. And it is going to give it a milky look, that milk paint look. We just have to go and color. Now, these are a little bit finer images, so we don't have to worry about directional painting on these like you did the others. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and go right over that because I'm going to go over this image down here. I want the white to soak into the paper underneath. And I am going to even go down the stems because I want all of this to show up. Okay, let's get the leaves. Now I'm going to do part of it with the marker, just so you can see the difference. So here's the marker. Let's get this leaf coming up here. Okay, now I am going to take my paper towel and I am going to dab this just a little bit, just so I get that ink off of the embossing powder. Okay, so that is what that looks like. So as you can see, some spots are darker, some parts are lighter. I can always go back and follow up. I think in this case, your chalk marker is, when you have the fine lines like this, is the better choice. Okay, put that down there. It's kind of sticking on to the embossed part. Sorry if my head is in the way, but it's really hard to see this in my lights. Okay, so I have better control on the fine images like this. Okay, we're going to let that dry a little bit, and then we'll come back and see what that looks like. Okay, let's grab some of our other ones back here. So here is my crumb cake. Here is, and that is soft suede on top of crumb cake. This one is the crushed curry on the So Saffron. Here is gorgeous grape on the Highland Heather. And then here's gorgeous grape on white. And then here is the rich razzleberry. The rich razzleberry, I think I would have used the chalk marker. And it really, this is still really wet, but it really picked up that ink. And using the same color ink on the cardstock, it is gorgeous, but I like the darker ink on the cardstock when I do this. So let's grab, I have a piece of crumb cake here. Let me grab a piece of crumb cake. We're going to make our card. So we'll make one card here, and I don't want that just on that. So we're going to grab a piece of basic white, and I need to measure this. So this measures 3 1/8 by 4. So I want my basic white to be 4 1/4 by 3 3/8. And we will layer that on top of here. Let's get our liquid glue, my favorite glue, and we'll put that on there. And see how that brings out the white also. Now we could just put this on here, but let's go into our designer series pack, designer series paper pack here. And let's find a piece of cardstock to go, or designer series paper, maybe with some texture. This one might be, oh, I don't know which one. Oh, that one doesn't quite match. This one I think would be gorgeous. So we're going to go with this one here. I have many more I could choose from, but I want to make this quick for you guys tonight. So we went 3 3/8 wide. So we want to go 4 inches. We're going to do 4 by 5 1/4. just do it the full layer by 5 1/4. And I think you guys are going to be surprised to how it just changes this look. This is going to give it a really organic. Ooh, look at that. That would have been, oh, I should have looked at it. Ooh, which do we like better? So this side. Ooh, I like that side. I know the stone is probably going the wrong way, but there's no wrong or right. And you're really not going to see a whole lot of the pattern anyways to tell which way it's going. So it's okay. It's okay. So we've got that on there. Let's grab a little bit of twine here. We may take that in half. Let's grab our Stampin' Dimensionals. We're going to put this on with dimensionals. And as you can see, you could make up quite a few of these at one time. Just different colors. Doesn't take long to do. And then just make up some cards with these pieces. Let's do this up the center. Oops, let's flip this around and get this on. And I can actually make this card going in any, for any occasion. I'm going to go ahead and put this towards the bottom and make sure it's opening the right way. Just going to put that right between those so I can move it back and forth. And I could even put this at an angle, which I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do that for this card. So this moves back and forth. So I can take this and move it up and down, back and forth to wherever I want it to tie it. And I'm just tying a little knot right on here. Oh, you know, if I was smart, I would have taken the one that is in the loop and had that to wrap around instead of this one. And I should have put a glue dot down, but we're not being picky tonight. Okay, I got to pull those so that they're even, or else it's too hard to tie. So I'm going to just even these two ends out like this. And how cute would it be even putting a brass button or a black button on here and tie your knot through it. I want this a little bit longer so I have a little bit more to play with to tie my knot. There we go. Let's pull that through. Did I get both of them through? I hope so. I may not have. Oh, yes, I did. Okay, let's pull that a little bit tighter. I'm going to take my snips and snip that off. Snip this off. So it kind of goes just right there. And I can snip them off. Having them different lengths is fine. I am going to take a glue dot and control that knot and its legs. So I just take a glue dot, roll it up a little bit because your twine is fine. And, oh, rhyme time. Oh my gosh. Okay, little nutsy getting this late at night. Okay, here we go. And just like that. And let me see what I want to put on. I think for right now, I'm just going to leave it blank because this is be a really good birthday card too. But I can do this for all of these flowers. And they're all going to be a little bit different because they're a little bit different shapes and different sizes. So I'd like to thank you for coming on in. Hello, Haley. How are you this evening? So thanks a lot for watching tonight. I hope you guys learned a little bit about whitewash painting. And until we meet again, happy stamping, everybody. Bye-bye.